By what name are you known?
There are some who call me... Tim?
Welcome to another episode of Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic. And today we are back again in Utrecht, the Netherlands for DadBodCon. And we've got a really cool matchup today. We've got Koen, who's on mono white, and he's taking on Martijn, and Martijn is playing Orcs. I love this. He's playing Orc General, he's playing Orcish Spy. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm so looking forward to discuss these decks with you in the deck. And of course the mono white deck is also stunning. It's one of those really classic decks that I always love to see in action. Now, before we jump into the deck section of this video though, I would first like to tell you something about the sponsor of this video, 3for1 Trading. 3for1 Trading is one of Europe's leading Magic the Gathering retailers. Their online shop has a fantastic selection of high-end Magic cards, especially for vintage, legacy, and yes, old school Magic players. They now exclusively offer my community free, fully insured and fast worldwide shipping on all their high-end singles, full sets, and out-of-print sealed products. They upload new cards every Wednesday and have weekly sale offers and reductions waiting just for you. Use my code TIMMY to get free worldwide shipping on your first order over $500 or euros. Have fun ordering those cards, and thank you 3for1 Trading for sponsoring this video. And we are back and ready to dive into the deck techs. I'm going to start with the player on the left, that is Martijn. Let's take a look at his Orc deck. And here we see the deck of Martijn. So Martijn is playing Orcs, and his deck is basically mono red. He does have a few splashes, so we see the three blue power cards, Time Walk, Ancestral Recall, Time Twister, so there's a little bit of blue. We also see a little bit of black from Mind Twist and Demonic Tutor, and I actually like that. I like the fact that he said to himself, I'm going to play Orcs, but I'm going to try to make the best possible Orc deck. I mean, it's very tempting and maybe even more classy to say I'm going to go mono red or maybe Orcish Artillery COP red that route, but he's going to go with, you know what, I'm going to play with a lot of Orcs, it's an Orc deck. And then, of course, I'm going to add blue power and I guess the black power, Demonic Tutor, Mind Twist, to make the deck competitive. And I like that. And I'm looking forward to see how it's going to work out against the White Weenie deck. And there are just a few cards I would like to highlight because maybe you don't see those cards that often. And the card I want to start with is Orcish Captain. Orcish Captain is a 1/1 for 1 red from Fallen Empires that reads, pay 1, flip a coin. So if a card starts that way, I'm already in love, right? I mean, that's just fantastic. So pay 1, flip a coin. If you win the flip, target Orc gets +2/+0 until end of turn. If you lose the flip, it gets -0/-2 until end of turn. So if you lose the flip, you can kill your Ironclaw Orc, you can kill your Orcish Spy, you can use it safely on your Orcish Artillery, I guess, because that card has 3 toughness. Now, a neat little trick that you can do, that's not going to work in this deck, but that's include Pendelhavens, because with Pendelhaven, you can make your 1/1 Orcish Spy a 2/3, then you can flip, you know, and then if it survives, right, you could even flip again. But then at least you cannot kill your own Orc with the first flip. So what I said, you can also flip again, right? So you can actually take a lot of risks and hope that you're really lucky to inflict a lot of damage. And that could be relevant if you're attacking like in a later stage in the game. If it's late game and you need, for example, you need to deal 5 damage and you only have a 1/1 to attack with, you could take, of course, the risk to flip twice. And if you win the flips, you actually deal 5 damage and kill the enemy. That would be a pretty cool scenario, right, to see. Now, if we're looking at the rest of the deck, we do see, besides the Orcs, we also see a lot of direct damage, right? We see 4 Lightning Bolts, we see 3 Chain Lightnings, we see Black Vices there in the main in the deck as well. And Black Vice and Time Twister and Wheel of Fortune, of course, can work together quite well. We see Orcish Artillery. That's a card, a 1/3 for 2 red and 1. You can tap it to deal 2 damage to any target, but you do take 3 damage yourself. So it's a bit of a bad exchange, but then again, if your opponent's low enough, it can just kill him or it can get rid of a blocker so you can keep attacking with your Orcs. Maybe it's also nice to talk about the Orcish Spy, also a card you don't see that often. Orcish Spy, 1 red for a 1/1 as well from Fallen Empires. Of course, it's a summon Orc. It reads, look at the top 3 cards of target player's library. So that's all it does, right? You cannot change anything about those top 3 cards. You can combine this, of course, with Millstone. We don't see that here in this deck, but I've played with the deck in the past before an X Points that I've called Spy Stone, where I combine Millstone with Orcish Spy. It's pretty sweet. You can kind of see what your opponent's going to draw, and you're going to make sure that he's not going to draw into anything good. Or, of course, you can use it on yourself to kind of mill away the cards you don't want to get closer to the cards that you do want. So I always find Millstone and Orcish Spy pretty sweet, but we're not going to see that here. Another card that I find really interesting, and actually a card that in my opinion is underestimated in Fallen Empires, is Goblin War Drums. Goblin War Drums, 1 red and 2 an enchantment that actually simply reads, we need a lot of text here, right? But it simply says all the creatures you control have menace, right? And menace means that they cannot be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. So if you play a creature-heavy strategy and you just constantly want to push forward, having the War Drums can really help you to get some damage in. I think it's quite cool to see that card. So I'm actually hoping to see in this matchup, to see the Orcish Captain shine, and I hope that we can see the Goblin War Drum shine, because those are 2 cards I don't see that often. Would be really cool to see those cards in action. A card that I think is going to be very dangerous for the opponent of Martijn today, that is Koen, who's on White Weenie. I think a card that he's really afraid of here is the Orcish Artillery. 2 damage to any target basically means that with the artillery, he can kill a creature every single turn on the side of Koen. So that's definitely a card that Koen has to be cautious about. Talking about that, let's take a look at the White Weenie deck of Koen. And here we see the deck of Koen, and I have to say I love these decks as well. Just look at the deck photo. What's not to love? It's so classic. It's so stylish. It's all black bordered. I really, really like it. This is White Weenie at its purest, right? It's one of the first, competitive decks in old school Magic. I love it. So White Weenie, what do you want to do? You want to play cheap creatures, 1-drop creatures, 2-drop creatures. We've got Savannah Lions, Banalish Hero, Acacian Javelineers, right? Those are in the 1-drop slot. They're 12 in total. And then we also have 12 2-drop creatures, Order of Lightbur, White Knight, and Mesa Pegasus. So it's just very clear, right? He's playing with 24 creatures. It's clear. And then, of course, he's playing with Disenchants and Swords to Plowshares. Just get rid of the stuff of your opponent. And, of course, when you're playing with this many white creatures, you want to add Crusades as well. So 3 Crusades in total. And then 2 Armageddons to kind of lock the game. So he's not playing with, for example, Landtex. You could also go for Landtex Armageddon in a White Weenie shell. He's not doing that. He's not playing with any taxes at all. He is playing with 2 Armageddons. Also playing, by the way, with Mishra's Factories. Those are kind of creatures as well. So just a beautiful deck photo, a beautiful deck. After the first game, if he wants to, he could go a little bit more controlling with Circle of Protections, with Preachers. I guess in this matchup, Circle of Protection red might be good. Perhaps also the AO piles might be a good fit as well. The Preacher, I'm not so sure because of the Orcish Artilleries and, of course, the Lightning Bolts and Chain Lightnings on the side of Martijn. But I mean, if you can get your Preacher to work, if you maybe play it out later after some removal is gone, then perhaps it could be a good card. But I don't think Koen is going to board that in, to be honest. In general, actually, I think, yes, this is a good deck by Koen, but the problem for him in this matchup is all that direct damage, and his creatures seem pretty fragile, if you ask me, compared to the direct damage of the red player. But I would say 60% Martijn, 40% Koen, What do you think? Let me know in the comments below who is your favorite and why. And now that we've talked about the deck of Koen and we've looked at the deck of Martijn, we know what time it is. It is time to go to the match between White Weenie and Orcs. Here we go. Game number 1 here is about to begin. On the left we have Martijn, so he's playing Orcs, mainly a red deck, splashes blue for the blue power and black for, well, the black power, Mind Twist, Demonic Tutor. On the right we have Koen, he's playing a mono-white White Weenie deck. Kicking it off here with a Savannah Lions 2-1 vanilla. Ready for battle. Let's see what Martijn can do. Has a lot of 1-1s in the deck. Orcish Spy, Orcish Captain. Or we're going to see one of those also playing with Chain Lightnings, Lightning Bolts. So it just has a lot of options there on the 1 slot. There we see a Lightning Bolt taking care of the Lion. So the Lion's a goner. And there's untap, upkeep, draw here for Koen. I mean, I guess you're fine, if your Lion eats a Bolt. Going to tap 2, or we're going to see a 2-drop here. It's playing Order of Lightburs, Mesa Pegasus, and also White Knight 2/2. First strike protection from black hitting the board for Koen. Or we're going to see another Bolt or another Chain Lightning perhaps. First City of Brass. Of course, they're in there for to splash those colors, black and blue. And there we see the Chain Lightning taking care of business here. So both creatures dying to a Thunderstorm. But Koen, of course, is playing with a lot of creatures in his deck, 24 in total. So you can just keep casting threats here. There's another one, Order of Lightbird, 2/1 Pump Knight. Protection from black as well. For 2 white, you can give it +1/+0. And for 1 white, you can give it the first strike. Ooh, he's going to tap 3. What are we going to see for 3? A damage for Martijn first, 19. Are we going to see Orcish Artillery? Yes, we are. Yeah, this is a card. Oh, this is a tough one for Koen. He needs a Swords to Plowshares here. Of course, he can first attack. It looks like he also has a Chaos Orb there in hand. Now remember, this tournament, at this tournament you have to flip your Chaos Orbs naked. What does that mean? It means you have to take them out of the sleeve and flip them without sleeves, which can be quite challenging. Yeah, Koen here in the tank, perhaps he's thinking about it. Not sure, of course, if it's a Chaos Orb, it just looks like it. There's the attack first, so I'm expecting Martijn just to take the damage here, since Koen can pump the Order of Lightbird to a 3/1 first striker. Yeah, just taking the damage. And I guess it's just going to be 2, right? Exactly. Going to go to 17 in his second main. What is he going to do? I mean, he's not going to pass, right? I'm sure he wants to do something. Or doesn't he have any good options? It's going to tap 2. So is it a Chaos Orb? It is a Chaos Orb. Okay. Then he's going to flip it. And this is already a very important flip for Koen here. Very early in the game, yes, but really needs to hit that artillery. And the good news for Koen is that Martijn's only playing with 2 Orcish Artilleries. Maybe you're wondering, why is there an Earth Elemental? Oh, he misses the flip. Oh, you went too fast, Koen. You went too fast. I actually missed all my flips at this tournament, by the way. So I have no right to be critical, but it felt like you went very quick, Koen. And what I wanted to say is that Martijn's only playing with 2 Orcish Artilleries. So that's kind of the silver lining here for the Koen. And the reason that they are flipping with the Earth Elementals, the Earth Elemental is kind of the symbol of DadBodCon. You can also see that patch there in the middle. And you get an Earth Elemental when you play in this tournament, and it's also stamped with DadBodCon, with the name. And you can use that as an alternative instead of flipping your own Chaos Orb. So here we see a Mind Twist, by the way. So wow, this Mind Twist, devastating. This is going to be a really tough game 1 here for Koen. There's the attack. Okay, he's going to take the... I'm surprised that he's taking the damage. Okay, no, he's taking the damage because he's going to use the artillery. Yeah, that makes way more sense. So he's going to blow up here the Order of Lightbird, taking 3 damage from his own Orcish Artillery. Dealing 2 damage, of course, to the Order. There's the Max Jet. So full control now for Martijn. Attacking for 1. Going to put Koen on 19. And I mean, Koen just has to hope on a balance, I guess, a well-timed balance to kind of get back into it. There's a Chaos Orb being played out by Martijn. Gonna tap a white here. What are we gonna see? Okay, there's an Icasian Javelin here. And I mean, at this stage in the game, if you're Koen, you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep feeding, gonna keep playing creatures, and he can use the artillery against it. Fine, but that means he takes 2 damage, or 3 damage actually, every time he does it. So is it worth it? That's not a big question for Martijn. Martijn having, I believe, 3 or 4 cards in hand. And he's going to attack here? It seems, yeah, he's going to attack. Okay, so he's going to put Koen on 18, and there's a lightning bolt. I mean, okay, this is fine. It's eating a bolt. And there's the pass. Martijn now having 2 cards in hand. There's a Mishra's Factory. There's the pass. So the factory, quite interesting. Of course, Martijn could use a strip here to get rid of it. It's going to tap 2, the Mox Jet and a Mountain. Okay, there's the Ironclaw Orcs. 2/2. Yeah, it looks like he's going to use the strip here because he just wants to keep attacking. So strip mine on the factory, attacking for 1. Going to put Koen on 17. And like I said before, I think if you're Koen, you're just really hoping for a balance. Trying to stall the game until you can find a balance and try to get back into it. So here we see an Order of Lightbird. There we see an island. So one of the things that Martijn can do is use his artillery, kill the Order, attack for 2. Could also flip on the Order of Lightbird, but that's something that I personally wouldn't do. I mean, the flip can get rid of any permanent. He's gonna tap a blue. Okay, he's gonna use the Chaos Orb here on the Order of Lightburr. Let's see if he can hit it. Taking his time, of course, and yeah, it's a hit. Did it rotate fully? That's always so hard to see. I guess it did. It's always so hard to see. Did it flip fully, yes or no? But I guess it did. It's important that both players agree. And there's the attack for 3. So Koen here dropping to 14. Yeah, and can you imagine if Koen would have just hit the Orcish artillery? We would have seen a completely different game. Of course, the Mind Twist was also disastrous for Koen. So Koen in top decking mode. Looks like he wanted to tap 2 white there. He is going to tap 2 white. Are we going to see another creature? Or are we going to see that balance that can save him? No, we're going to see a Pegasus. 1/1 flyer with banding. Art from Melissa Benson. There's a swamp. Yeah, just attack here, I guess. Gonna do something else, it seems. Gonna tap 3. Does he have a Goblin War Drums, maybe? Oh, there's the Goblin War Drums. I'm liking this. This makes me happy. It's always just fun to see a card that you don't see often that's actually quite good. And this is, of course, the favorite part when your opponent asks to read the card. You know, that's a huge compliment. So remember, all the creatures now have menace, meaning they have to be blocked by 2 or more creatures. And with all the creatures, I of course mean the creatures in control of Martijn. And passing the turn out to Koen. Koen can of course attack for 1, you put him on 11. I mean, at least that's something. Ooh, gonna play a Banalish Hero, 1/1 Bander. That's pretty funny. That gives him blocking options for the Ironclaw Orcs, for example. So again, it's the question, how is Koen going to respond, or Martijn going to respond to this? And maybe they're having a discussion now. If you block in a band, is it still 2 creatures? I think it is. And maybe they're having a discussion about this now. Banding, is a constant discussion point, especially when you combine it with another card. We don't see that often in the form of the Goblin War Drums. So I made a little cut in the video because they were discussing it for quite a long time. But at the end of the discussion, Koen here decides to attack with 1 with the Pegasus. So it's going to put Martijn on 11. And now, of course, Martijn has a good attack here for 3. There's the attack with the Ironclaw Orcs and the Orcish artillery. So has to take the damage here. Should go to 8, I believe, not 9. Anyway, now we see the Time Twister here hitting the board. Oh, that's fun, actually. Love a good Time Twister. Time Twister, of course, is going to activate the Library of Alexandria of Martijn, but I still think it's the fun play, but it's kind of a risky play because Martijn is ahead, and you are giving Koen, of course, 7 new cards. And if Koen can find a Swords to Plowshares, he can just get rid of that Orcish artillery, which is important for Koen. So maybe you're helping Koen getting back into the game. You had full control with the Orcish artillery. But hey, it's fun. Who doesn't love to draw cards, right? It's fun. You're both going to draw 7. So I love it. And like I said, you are going to activate your Library of Alexandria as well. So, I mean, that's, of course, a huge plus for Martijn. And remember, Martijn is playing with all the burn. He's all shuffled it back into his deck. So Koen's on 9, only 3 bolts away from dying. So this first game could be over quite soon now. Martijn in his second main. Gonna look at his new hand. Probably gonna use the Loa to draw card 8 if he has anything useful. If not, he's just gonna pass use Loa on end step. Exactly, gonna use it now. So I guess he wants to play something out still. 8 cards in hand now after that Library of Alexandria activation. Gonna tap the red. Are we gonna see a lightning bolt or a chain lightning? Or perhaps just a creature. We're gonna see a creature. The Orcish Captain, love it. That's the flip a coin guy. And again, he's reading the card. Yeah, man. I love it. I think you should get a drink every time your opponent needs to read your card. That would be a cool rule, right? That would be quite nice. So Orcish Captain, you can pay 1, flip a coin. If you win the flip, your target orc gets +2/+0. But if you lose the flip, then that orc gets -0/-2. You're basically killing your orc. Unless it's the Orcish artillery, because it's a 1/3, so it would then turn into a 1/1. And there's the pass to Koen. Looks like Koen wants to do something on end step. Yep, there's the swords. Swords to Plowshares, very important here for Koen. Getting rid of that artillery. 1 life for Martijn then gained. Removed from the game as well. Exactly. Exiled. So Martijn going to gain a life. Going to go up to 12. Yeah, and this is a very important moment here for Koen. Really needed that Swords to Plowshares. And I guess that's it for now, unless Martijn still wants to do something. Has 2 City of Brasses there that he can still use. Looks like he's thinking about doing something. But I assume the Swords to Plowshares happened on the end step. Does he want to fire off a bolt? He's going to tap 1, going to go to 11. Okay, I guess he was still in his main. There's an Orcish Spy. So Orcish Spy, you can tap it to look at the top 3 cards of target player's library, including your own. But that's all you can do. You cannot shuffle it. You cannot rearrange it. You can only look at the top 3. That's it. Pretty cool to play it in combination with, for example, Millstone. But I think in this case, it's just there because it's an Orc and it's a 1/1 for 1. And of course, you can use your Orcish Captain to then make it a 3/1 if you're lucky with the flip. But let's see what Koen can do now, taking on his turn. I mean, the swords helped, but he's still in a pretty bad position. He's on 9. He's got 2 blockers. Remember, the Goblin War Drums is giving all the creatures of Martijn menace. There we see the Caracas by Koen. Going to attack here for 1 through the air. So going to put Martijn on 10. Going to tap 2. There we see a White Knight, 2/2 first striker. That's a pretty good blocker here. It's going to tap another white. Or are we going to see perhaps an Occasion Javelineers? No, we're going to see a Savannah Lions instead. And, another banding creature, Banalish Hero. Now he's going to pass turn. So, almost played out his entire hand. And now the big question is, how many answers does Martijn have? I mean, yes, the Time Twister was a cool card to play out. And yes, you activate your Loa. And yes, you have all the burn back. But, of course, you're also giving the White Weenie player a chance to get back into the game. Does have a Chain Lightning there in hand, it seems. Some lands as well. Really curious to see what Martijn will do in this turn. Going to tap 2. 3. Okay. He's got to take a damage. There's a Chain Lightning, a Lightning Bolt, and a Lightning Bolt. Oh, that's it. End of the road. Yeah. That's the thing, of course. And I guess, Martijn, your theory was right. I've got a lot of burn. Koen's on 9. I'm just going to draw into more burn, got active Loa, and I'll burn him out. And that's exactly what happened. So, well done here, Martijn, winning a game number 1 against the White Weenie player. But White Weenie, of course, is much better on the play. And we're going to see that in game number 2. Game number 2. Here we go with the White Weenie player on the play after losing the first game. Going to start it with Mox Pearl, Mishra's Factory into, what are we going to see? Savannah Lions, classic opener by the White Weenie player, 2/1 vanilla, hitting the board, passing the turn here to Martijn. Let's see what Martijn can do. There's a Badlands. So a duel you can tap for red and black. Gonna tap it probably for red here. Exactly. There's an Orcish Captain. The 1/1 is back. We saw that in the first game as well. So you can pay 1, flip a coin. Well, target an Orc, then flip a coin. And if you win the flip, the creature gets +2, +0. If you lose it, it gets -0, -2. The cool thing is that the Orcish Captain is an Orc as well, so it can also flip on itself. Pretty sweet. And the question is Koen going to offer the trade here to trade the Captain for the Lion? I think it's a trade you could make. Or maybe he's got better options. Could also, of course, just animate the factory attack. Or perhaps he's got a good 2-drop. Can play another Plains. Play like White Knight, Order of Lightbird. Those are quite nice as well because they have first strike. But Koen in the tank here. And of course, the first couple of turns for these aggro decks are vital. Absolutely vital. Looks like they're discussing the Captain here. You can also use a dice, by the way. You can then choose odds or even. That's usually easier. But let's see what Koen's going to do. He's going to tap a white. Okay, what are we going to see? Okay, there's an Occasion Javelineer. So this is a 1/1. Comes into play with a Javelin counter. You can tap it, take off the Javelin counter, and deal 1 damage to any target. So it could kill the Orcish Captain next turn. If it survives that long, of course, we know that Martijn's playing with End Bolts and Chain Lightnings. Let's see what he's going to do. Going to tap the Badlands here. Okay, there's a Chain Lightning. End of the road for our brave Javelineers. It wasn't meant to be. It does mean a life gained here. Not quite sure why. Oh no, of course not a life gained. It's just a Chain Lightning. It's not a Swords to Plowshares. Sorry. So just a Chain Lightning. And I believe Koen now is on 19. Should be on 20 if I'm not mistaken. There's a Plains. Missed a land drop last turn, by the way. So there's a Plains. Probably found that from the top then. Are we going to see a White Knight or an Order of Lightbearer? Perhaps a Crusade. Playing 3 Crusades as well. What are we going to see here? Or does he just want to animate and swing in? Looks like he's got some options here, really in the tank, trying to go through what he can do, what he shouldn't do, what he should do. Gonna animate the factory, so I guess he doesn't have a good 2-drop. No, he's not gonna animate, he's gonna fire off the Swords to Plowshares. And in response, oh, this is funny, Martijn's gonna flip the captain on itself, because if you make it a 3-1, you gain 3 life. Gonna roll the dice. Now, I don't know what he picked, odds or even, it was even. He's going to gain 3, so I guess he picked even. Then the Orc gets +2/+0, becomes a 3-1, then gets destroyed by the sword. So he goes to 23. Then he takes 4 damage from the factory and from the Lions. He's going to drop to 19. So that's it's a nice moment in the game to see that Orcish Captain use its ability. Here we see the Library of Alexandria again. I believe like 5 cards in hand for Martijn. Oh, wow! Yeah, this helps. That's going to activate that Loa, right? It's going to draw 3, I believe up to 7. Let's see. We'll know if he taps it. Yep, he's going to tap it, so he's going to go up to 8. Oh man, this is bad news for Koen. I kind of feel bad for Koen because you could see in game 1 that game went south with the Mist Flip followed up by the Mind Twist, and now he has to deal with Ancestral Recall and Loa. And there's an Orcish Spy, 1/1. You can tap it to look at the top 3 cards of target player's library. We also saw that card in game 1. Playing with a full playset of Orcish Spies. Let's see what Koen can do. Living from the top of his deck, it seems, going to animate. Swing in for 2, so not attacking with the Lions. And it's going to play the Banalish Hero. Yeah, that makes sense, because next turn you can attack in a band, a 3/2 band. That could be relevant. And remember, in banding, you're the one who decides where the damage goes to. Let's see what Martijn can do. Tapping a blue here for Soul Ring. Probably wants to use a Loa exactly before doing anything else. Going to go up to 8. The fact that he's using it in his own main probably means he wants to do something else. There's the land for turn. Basic Mountain, 7 in hand. Ooh, going to tap 4. What's costing 4 in his deck? Not sure if he has a 4-drop. And okay, it's a 3-drop. Fair enough. There's Orcish Artillery back on the battlefield. 2 red and 1 for a 1/3. We saw that do a lot of work in game number 1. It's a big problematic card for Koen here in this matchup, because you can tap it to deal 2 damage to any target, and then you also take 3 damage. So it's ideal to kill all those creatures in the deck of Koen. So Koen really needs Swords to Plowshares here. The silver lining, of course, of the artillery for Koen is that Martijn does take 3 damage every time he uses the artillery. There's another Plains for Koen. So 2 Plains, Factory, and Mox Pearl there. That's his mana base. I mean, could decide to animate Factory here. Bandit with the hero, perhaps. There are a few options, but the better option would, of course, be play a Swords on the artillery. But if you don't have it, you have to come up with alternatives. Now remember, Koen is already behind a game. So he's not in the best position here. Only 2 cards in hand, it seems. Yep, 2 cards in hand. Martijn has, what, 7 or 6 even? I feel like I'm a little bit on repeat because I said this a lot in the first game as well. But again, Koen kind of needs a balance to get back into it. Okay, he is going to ban factory with hero, attack here with a 3-3. Martijn's probably just going to take the damage here. Could consider chumping with the spy, but he's on 17. I would personally take the damage. Okay, he is going to chump. He's going to put the damage here, of course, on the Mishra's factory. He can decide. There we see the Mesa Pegasus, a 1-1 flyer. Also with banding, by the way. I think I would have considered just taking the damage here. If I would have been Martijn, but decides to chump here, so... Perhaps he has his reasons, of course, has a lot of cards in hand, so... The spy is easily replaced. 17 for Martijn, and Koen should be on 20, I believe, and not on 19. He's going to tap 4. Are we going to see another Orcish artillery? We're going to see an Orcish captain, okay. That means he still has 3 mana floating. Okay, he's first going to take it back exactly. Don't forget your Loa. It's going to use his Loa first. Then play the captain. Okay, so now 7 left in hand. 1 red and 2 floating. Oh, this one. Oh, what's it called again? You can sack an orc to destroy all planes, I believe. And there's a catch, of course, because a player may tap a white creature to prevent the planes from being destroyed. And I can't remember if it's 1 or 2. I'll show it there on the board. So this is quite an interesting moment in the game. So Martijn could sack an orc. The question is, do you want to destroy all planes? And Koen can just tap one of his creatures to prevent it. I feel like Martijn maybe should have waited for a moment where, you know, Koen would tap out. I wonder if that's going to happen, but that would be ideal, right? Because then he doesn't have any creatures to tap to save the lands. But very cool to see this card. Beautiful art by Quinton Hoover. And it's one of those cards, like many Fallen Empire cards, if you read the start of it, like second orc to destroy all planes, you're like, wow, this is pretty good. And then you read the rest, where you can cancel the effect. And you're not that happy anymore, but it's a cool card. It's an interesting design as well. There we see another land, gonna tap the mountain and the island. Okay, there's an Ironclaw Orcs 2-2. The cool thing is, of course, Martijn can start killing creatures with the Orcish artillery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 in hand now. Did he go off the Library of Alexandria train? That is odd. That is something I wouldn't have done personally. But maybe he has his reasons. Gonna pass the turn here. And what I wanted to say is Martijn can start using the artillery to kill the creatures of Koen. Then at the right time use his enchantment to destroy all the planes. And there we see the strip mine. Yeah, now destroying the Loa. It's not that relevant though. Well, I mean, Martijn could have drawn back into activating the Loa, of course. So I guess it's still a good decision. But it would also be interesting to perhaps strip the island or the Badlands. There's the attack through the air, the 1-1 flyer. I mean, he has no flying creatures here, so would drop to 16. Can, of course, decide to use the artillery again to kill it here. But then he'll take 3 from his own artillery. So chooses to just take the damage, drop to 16. Koen gonna tap 2. Are we gonna see another creature? There's a Disenchant and no more cards in hand for Koen. So he's got Jazz Hands. And I believe 5 cards in hand for Martijn. 6 then after the draw. Gonna draw card number 6. So Raiding Party, there the card on the left. And then we've got Orcish Captain, Orcish Artillery, and Ironclaw Orc. Really cool to see this Orc heavy deck. And it's actually doing quite well, especially in this matchup. 1 game ahead already, and it's looking very good for the Orc player. Gonna tap 3, and an Ironclaw Orc, and another Captain. I would be, yeah, do you want to attack with the Ironclaw Orc? You can. You can actually attack. Wait until to see how Koen's gonna block, and if, for example, he wants to block on the factory, pump the factory, then you can first use the Captain to see if you can give a +2/+0. And if that fails, you can even choose to use your artillery to kill the factory. in response to the pump, of course, because it only deals 2 damage, not 3. But Koen here finding a plains, it seems, from the top, attacking again with the 1-1. So Martijn going to drop here to 15. There has to be a moment in the game, though, where Martijn's going to be, okay, I'm going to start attacking. Yeah, he's now going to use the Orcish artillery, going to kill the lion, going to take 3 damage himself, going to drop to 12. Ooh, does he want to start using the raiding party here? Untap, upkeep, can kill the Banalish. Are we going to see a raiding party activation? I think that will be the first on the channel. There we see a spy. Oh, he's not going to kill... I would kill the Banalish here first. So he gets to save 2 planes. He is going to lose 1 of the planes. Or is it 1? That's the question now. So he tapped the white creature, and I know that prevents like 1 plane or 2 planes. So I guess it's 2 planes, right? Or else he would lose more, so 2 planes. Would have been pretty cool here to see Martijn doing the artillery on the Banalish hero instead, and then using the effect, because then you would have destroyed all the planes on the battlefield. Attacking here for 6 now, by the way. And I guess Martijn wanted to keep his Orcish artillery here, so he can use it in case Koen's going to animate his factory. He's going to take the damage here. It's going to drop to 13, it seems. Finding another card from the top. It's looking very bad here for Koen. Needs a miracle in the form of a balance, but then even then, I mean, he first needs to get rid of his white creatures here. Passes the turn here to Martijn. It seems Martijn thinking, do I want to use my artillery on end step? Okay, we're not there yet. I'm going too quickly. I guess we're just in Koen's combat. He's going to attack again here with the Pegasus. That Pegasus is doing work. I love it. Martijn dropping to 11. 13 for Koen, 11 for Martijn. But of course, Martijn has and more cards and more creatures. Guess if you're Martijn, you just want to get rid of that White Knight. I think I would have done that on end step. Problem, of course, is that you take 3 points of damage. But maybe Martijn has a better option. Remember, he's playing 3 Chain Lightnings and 4 Lightning Bolts. So Martijn flicking through his cards, looking at his options. Look at that, attacking with everything. Well, except for the Orcish artillery, but attacking with the rest all into the red zone. The White Knight's looking very powerful here. Looks like Martijn wants to use the artillery here after blockers are declared, but before damage is dealt, or not. So the player's discussing the blocks. Yeah, he's going to use the artillery. But if blockers are already declared, it does mean that that creature is not going to deal any damage anymore. So would have been better to use it before blocks are declared. And look at the life total of Martijn. Martijn's on 7. Yeah, I believe Koen should be on 10 here, because it looked like he was on 19 instead of 20 as a starting life total. But that's a bit late now. Here we see Orcish mechanics, pretty cool. More orcs. I am loving it. I'm loving to see all those orcs, Martijn. It's really cool. Orcish mechanics, card from Antiquities, 1-1. Tap and sack an artifact, deal 2 damage to any target. So it kind of throws away those artifacts. Pretty cool if you combine it with steal effects, like for example with Aladdin from Arabian Nights. Steal the artifacts of your opponent, or Scarwood Bandits. So Koen finding, well, what is he finding? Top decking, of course, so 1 card in hand for him. Let's see what he found. Gonna tap 2 white. Okay, there's a White Knight. Not too shabby. I think Koen's actually doing a pretty good job considering the cards that he has been dealt, you know. He had to battle an active low, and Ancestral Recall. So many good cards coming from Martijn. And despite that, Martijn is still on just 7. Koen on 9, Martijn on 7. The Pegasus can attack. Are you going to put Martijn on 6? That's the question. Maybe you should keep the Pegasus now on blocking duty, but must be tempting to just keep attacking. Also a little bit unfortunate here for Koen that he couldn't find a Crusade in any of these games. A Crusade would go a long way, making all his 2/2s, 3/3s, and then they're out of reach by the artillery. There's the pass here by Koen. Untap, upkeep, draw for Martijn. 2 cards in hand, I believe, after the draw. Can he find an artifact? Because an artifact he can just directly sack to the mechanics and then he can deal 2 damage to any target. There's Demonic Tutor. Ooh. That is tough. Demonic Tutor. Is this going to be the end for Koen? I wonder what he can look up here. Looks like he found it pretty quickly. And I'm not sure if he plays with Fireball, yes or no, because Fireball could be an option. Doesn't have enough mana for lethal though. He could Fireball for 4. But you could of course use it to kill 2 of the creatures on the side of Koen, for example. Also a Bolt actually will just get you a long way as well. So a bit of a puzzle here for Martijn. I am still hoping for a scenario where Martijn will start using his captains again. That would be just great fun. He's going to tap both captains here. Going to attack, I assume. Yeah, so going to go fully in here except for the artillery again. The artillery is holding back. 2 captains, Orcish Mechanics and Iron Claws into the red zone. Charge! And now the question is, what is Koen going to do? The Goblin War Drums would have been really good here as well for Martijn. So 2 red and a City of Brass still open for Martijn. Koen has nothing in hands. Gonna animate the factory, it seems. That makes sense, or not. Gonna block the Ironclaw Orc. Is that it? Is that all he's gonna do? Because then he would take 2 for 5 points of damage. He would drop to 4. That is very risky. So he is going to block just the Ironclaw Orc or not. Okay, he is going to animate the factory. 2/2 factory can tap to pump itself to a 3/3. In response to the pump, of course, Martijn could use his Orcish artillery. It's going to block in a band, it seems. Okay, he's going to block the other Ironclaw Orc. Wow, what a moment here. This is going to be very interesting. Let's see what Martijn's going to do. Could consider, I want to say killing the factory, but if he does, Koen can tap it in response to make it a 3/3, so that's not an option. Could also consider to just leave it this way. Looks like Koen is still contemplating the blocks though. Could of course put the Pegasus there. Okay, gonna block the Pegasus, gonna block the mechanics with the Mesa Pegasus. So 1/1 for 1/1. One of the things that Martijn could do here is use the Orcish Captain to try to pump the Ironclaw Orc that gets blocked by the Benalish and the Factory. So these two are gonna trade. Okay, that's clear. Then of course if you lose the flip, your Ironclaw dies. But if you win the flip, you can kill both creatures, I think. That's not true, actually. You can put as much damage as you want on a creature if you're Koen, because you're blocking in a band. So Captain here doesn't really have a function in these blocks. So before damage, again here Martijn, it looks like he wants to use the artillery to save his Ironclaw Orcs to kill the White Knight. So he's going to tap the artillery. Yeah, going to kill the White Knight. Does mean he's going to go to 4. The Nellish hero is going to die. So he's going to drop to 4. Then he's going to take 2 damage from the captains. Okay, even going to drop to 3 here. Okay. 2 damage. Ooh, there's a Time Walk. So looked up the Time Walk with the Demonic. But is it enough though? 3 life for Martijn. Martijn could also sack an Orc now to the raiding party to destroy all the planes, the 2 planes on the side of Koen. That could be an option as well. It's going to attack with everything. Now remember, Koen is tapped out, so he has to take this damage. So that's 5 points of damage. He's going to go to 2. Or we're going to see... Oh, he's going to flip a coin. I love it. He's going to flip for the win. Oh, this is so cool. Flip on the Orcish artillery. I love it. I love it. I love it. He went for even first, right? Is he going to go for even again? Oh, if it's even, he's dead. He's winning it here. Wow. With an Orcish captain. Coin flip. That is a very cool way to win. For a moment there, I thought maybe he's still giving it away, though. You know, because he was on 3. He could deal 5, not 7. But yeah, that flip helped him. That flip gave him the win. And then Martijn, it's super cool to see cards like Raiding Party and Orcish Captain in a game. Goblin War Drums, Orcish Spy. You know, it's just really cool to see a tribal orc deck. And I believe your deck did quite well at the tournament. Talking about the tournament, we will be back next time with the finals of this tournament and how this tournament was built up. They played, I believe, 6 rounds. Could be 7. Let me check just before I say things that aren't true. Yeah, they played 7 rounds. And there was no top 8. But in round number 7, the 2 best performing decks went face to face to see who eventually was going to be the winner, who's going to win DadBodCon 3. And in the finals, we're going to see these 2 decks piloted by Gijsbert and Jeff. Both decks look alike a lot. That's of course what you're going to see in the finals. Both decks are pretty creature heavy, which I liked. Which I like. So yeah, there's going to be an interesting finals. If you don't want to miss that, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring that bell, because then you will be notified whenever I put new content online. What you can also do, of course, before you go is like, share, and comment on this video. All these things are free and really help the channel move forward. Talking about moving forward, you can also become a patron of the show. Check out patreon.com/TimmyTalks for all the information.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning, put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. She rises early in the morning. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Early in the morning. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises early in the morning. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Put him in the scoundrel. 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 Put him in the scoundrel.
Icketus, ficketus, sumba, kazee.